Hi guys, it's Mr. Skelton here. Hoping you're all staying safe. I'm going to read you a bedtime story today. So today we are going to be reading The Terrible Greedy Fosifoo by Charles Fuge. The creatures of the great green forest loved their home. The trees were covered with delicious fruits, the bushes were bursting with juicy berries, and everyone lived happily together. That is, until the terrible greedy Fossifoo arrived. He had come from far, far away, crashing over mountains, flattening grasslands, stomping through lakes and rivers, and now he was hungry. The forest had always provided plenty for all the creatures, but now they could only watch as the greedy Fossifoo helped himself to everything he could find. Soon there was nothing left to eat in the whole forest, but the Fossifoo was so greedy that still he wanted more. And now he was angry. "Watch this!" he roared, as he tore a tree right out of the ground. This made the Fossifoo feel much better, so he tore up another, and another, and another. "Aren't I big?" he bellowed, but nobody heard. Everyone had run away. Soon the Fossifoo had torn up every last tree in the forest, and now he was hot. "Watch this!" he boomed, and to cool down, he jumped right into the lake with a gigantic splash and emptied it. "Aren't I clever?" he bellowed, but nobody heard. All the fish had disappeared. By this time, the Fossifoo had bashed, crashed, munched and splashed, and now he was thirsty. "Watch this!" he yelled. Then he reached up into the sky, grabbed a rain cloud and rang it out, right into his enormous mouth. Then he emptied all the other clouds just for fun. "Aren't I?" The Fossifoo spun round to see who was watching. Nobody was. The Fossifoo looked around. Nothing moved. The Fossifoo listened. Not a sound. The Fossifoo waited for an hour, then a day, then a week. A year passed by and the forest was completely dry and bare. Still, nobody came. He cried and cried and cried until he had no tears left. If only he had taken care of the beautiful forest. Then he noticed it. Beneath his feet, watered by all the tears, a tiny seed had sprouted. The Fossifoo knew that the seed would need more water if it was to grow big and strong. But there was not a single drop left in the forest. So the Fossifoo leapt up and raced to the faraway mountains, where he carefully gathered clouds from the mountain tops and hurried them back to where the forest once stood. Then he gave each cloud a gentle squeeze, and out poured the rain. One by one, other seeds hidden in the dry earth began to sprout. Cared for by the Fossifoo, some seeds grew into all trees and began to bear fruit. Others blossomed into bushes bursting with berries. By now, the Fossifoo was very hungry. But this time, he didn't guzzle all the fruit and berries. This time, he took just enough for it to fill his empty belly. The rest he either planted in the ground or left to ripen on the trees and bushes. Before long, rainwater filled the lake and the great green forest was beautiful once more. There was just one thing missing: the forest creatures. The Fossifoo would have to get them all back. So he filled his arms with fruit and set off to find them. He trod gently over mountains, softly through grasslands, and carefully across lakes and rivers. Everywhere he went, he told the creatures that he found how lovely the forest had become. He tempted them with his tasty treats, and he promised never to stomp or bash or crash ever again. One by one they followed the Fosifoo home, and now he was happy. From that day on, no creature in the great green forest went without food or shelter again. Everyone lived happily together as the Fosifoo watched over their beautiful home, making absolutely sure that everything was shared equally. And who would argue with a terrible, not so greedy Fosifoo? And that is the end of the story, guys. I hope you're keeping safe and I hope you're enjoying your time with your family.